Hi, my name is Jason McKenna, and welcome to the Vex Classroom, where it's going to be my pleasure to talk to you today about how anyone can teach educational robotics. As I mentioned, my name is Jason McKenna. I am the Director of Global Educational Strategy for Vex Robotics. So let me start off by telling you a little bit about me and get into a little bit about my background. As I mentioned, I'm the Director of Global Education Strategy for Vex Robotics. I'm a former classroom teacher, so I know most of you watching this presentation today are teachers. I was a teacher for 20 years. I taught at a school right outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, here in the United States, where I'm doing today's presentation. The last few years I taught is when I first got introduced to educational robotics. So the key thing I want you to take away from that is, I'm not a computer scientist. I'm not an engineer. I'm not someone that naturally went into robotics. Like I said, I was a classroom teacher. I got pushed into it as a result of my students. It was something that my students really wanted to learn. I had a lot of students that were very interested in STEM education, and that's why I first got involved with robotics. And now I travel really around the world and talk to people all over the world talking about that, yes, you can teach educational robotics. It's not something that you need an engineering degree or a computer science degree or anything like that in order to be able to teach. Just like you don't have to be a mathematician to teach math, or you don't have to be a mathematician to help your son or daughter with their math homework. You don't have to be a roboticist. You don't have to be an engineer. You don't have to be a computer scientist in order to be able to teach educational robotics. Not only can you teach educational robotics, but one of the things that we're going to talk about today is educational robotics. At Vex, we feel is the best way for you to be able to do all of the things that you're being challenged with as an educator today. Obviously, right now, with everything that's going on with the COVID pandemic, educators are being challenged now probably more than any time in recent memory. As far as distance learning, hybrid learning, whatever the particular situation that you might find yourself in. Of course, millions of teachers all over the world went from teaching from their classroom to their living room or from their kitchen. So at Vex, we developed a solution for that, Vex Code VR, which we're very, very proud of, that we're going to show you here a little bit during our presentation. Also, the other products that we have, whether it's around our V5 robotic system, our brand new Vex 123 or Vex Go, we feel that these products are the best way for you as an educator and for you as a school in order to be able to meet the challenges that educators are facing today. So those are the two things that we're going to talk about today. Why you can teach educational robotics, all the things that we've done to try to make it easy for you to get started, and then of course, what is the benefit of that? I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about who we are at Vex in case you're a little bit, you might be unfamiliar with us. So we talked about what you're going to walk out knowing here today. But with Vex Robotics, we really kind of pride ourselves as being world leaders in STEM education. Our solutions are in tens of thousands of institutions all over the world. I mentioned Vex Code VR a moment ago. We're very proud of the fact that Vex Code VR is being used in over 160 countries worldwide. We have trained thousands of teachers. Our solutions are being used by millions of students. One of the things that we're most proud of is the fact that we have the world's largest robotics competition, our Vex Robotics Competition for both V5, VRC, and also Vex IQ. We're very, very proud of that. As a result of all of that, we believe that we are, once again, the world leaders in STEM education. And really, our mission is to try to create and foster the problem solvers of tomorrow. Okay? One of the things that we've developed, and I kind of showed it to you here a moment ago with some of the robots that are here in my classroom, is this idea of having a continuum that spans across multiple grades, multiple ages. No matter where your students are, we have a solution for you. And this is really, really important. And Vex is really the only provider that can offer this for you now. So why is this so important? Being able to do something like V5 robots with older students, metal robots that you use fasteners to be able to put together, something more like a plastic-based system that you snap together like this, or even something like Vex 123, which is geared towards pre-readers, teaching computer science before students can even read. The benefit of this, of having this ecosystem, of having this continuum, is once again, it gives you the opportunity to scaffold instruction from year to year and allow students to build upon their skills from each year to each subsequent year. This is the exact same thing that you do in all the rest of your core academic subjects, whether it's math, reading, writing, whatever those particular subjects are. You're able to develop a curriculum that builds from year to year. You're able to, as a result of that, go in and troubleshoot and target where students might be having issues. You know what's expected the next year, so you know what you have to be able to teach in the year that you're in. All that occurs because you teach that subject across multiple grade levels, across multiple ages. Unfortunately, with STEM, what happens oftentimes in school is you have these little pockets of where STEM might be being taught. You have a group of educators doing one thing and then nothing happens for a couple years, and you have a group of educators doing something else. Or you just have the group of educators doing one thing, like let's say, for students that are 10, 11, 12 years old, but then after they're 12, there's nothing for them to carry on after that. So imagine, teaching math until students are 12 years old and never teaching it again. No one would think that that would be an adequate way to teach math. Unfortunately, that's what we do for STEM right now because teachers don't have that continuum that once again allows you to progress across multiple grade levels and teach all those different things. We have that at Vex. The other really great thing about this is this allows you to build really a culture of collaboration amongst your teachers because everyone will be doing the same thing, whether it's around our STEM labs, which is a free curriculum that we offer, whether it's around our Vex Code programming software that programs this V5 robot to an IQ robot, to this VEXcode robot, even this Vex 123 robot. One consistent application for everything that you need. This allows educators, once again, to collaborate because everyone is doing the same thing. Whether it's a lesson in a STEM lab, whether it's a programming activity, whether it's building a robot, if you're doing some type of open-ended engineering challenge, whatever that is, teachers can now have conversations. Once again, that culture of collaboration. You could build expertise amongst your teachers, and that allows your teachers to really rely upon each other and to create a professional learning community. You can only do that is if you have a continuum using something similar across multiple grade levels, across multiple ages. Once again, Vex allows you to do that, and that's something we're really, really proud of, and we think that's a differentiator for us and really a benefit for you. Now, I talked a little bit ago about the fact that what educators do right now is really, really changing and also really, really challenging. And that really gets into the core of who we are at Vex and what we believe at Vex. And this is a quote from Bob Mimlich, who's the co-founder of Innovation First, which is the parent company of Vex. And what this quote attributes to is the fact that at Vex, we feel like it's the students, it's the competition team members, it's the volunteers, it's the mentors. This is what really makes Vex allow us to fulfill our mission statement to once again help foster and create those problem solvers of tomorrow. So we spend a lot of time making sure that we create resources, products, and solutions to allow you to reach your goals as educators. The other thing I'm really proud of as Vex is the fact that we have offices all over the world to support our schools. So over here on the board behind me, you see the contact information for my good friend Sala, who is in our office in Dubai. And he's there for you to support you, to offer guidance for you, answer any questions that you may have. But we have someone there for you, once again, in your part of the world to help assist you to make sure that you get everything that you need. Obviously, I'm here in the United States. We help all kinds of schools here. We have an office in Australia, offices in Hong Kong, all throughout China. So we have offices all over the world, not only to support you educators in the classroom, but also our competition teams, as we mentioned before. That's what allows us to have the largest competition, robotics competition in the world. So please feel free to contact Saul. You can see his information, email, phone number is right there for you. If you have any questions about anything that I'm going to talk about here today, please feel free to contact Sala. He'll be more than happy to get in contact with you. If you do want to get in contact with me, you can see my email is right here, and also my Twitter handle is right there. If you're active on social media, and if you want to ping me on social media, please feel free to do that. Also, if you want to share anything that we're talking about today during today's presentation with your social media, please feel free to tag me in that. I'd love to be able to interact with you and talk about, once again, all the great things that we're trying to do at Vex Robotics. All right, so that's a little bit about us at Vex. So now let me get into and shift and talk about the challenges, that you as educators are facing today. You're being asked to do more every single day, especially now, as I talked about a moment ago. A lot of you have had to become experts in online or distance learning within the last 6 months or so. You probably need a lot of training when it was time for you to do that, but unfortunately, educators were faced to deal with that as a result of the pandemic. Whether it's learning a new LMS as you're trying to do that distance learning. But even beyond that, education is changing, and not just because, once again, of the pandemic. What our students are being asked to do in order to be able to compete in a 21st century knowledge-based economy is a lot different now than it was when I started teaching a little bit over 20 years ago. I started teaching in 1997, and at that time, there was still a heavy emphasis on students being able to memorize information, to do that type of rote learning, then apply that learning in specific context. Now, we need our students to be able to do things like solve open-ended problems, work collaboratively, be iterative, okay? Do things that are very unstructured and be able to think around those things and be creative. Those are all of the types of things that we're looking for students to be able to do to once again be able to compete in a 21st century knowledge-based economy. Not only that, but if you look at even right now, the World Economic Forum just came out with a report, for the most in-demand jobs in 2020 and above. A lot of them involve things like computer science. They involve STEM. They involve this idea of being able to solve unstructured problems, able to work collaboratively. That is what we try to do in STEM classrooms. STEM not just being a subject, but also a pedagogy. So being able to do those project-based classrooms in which you have students engage in groups in the problem-solving process, not just for one class period, but for multiple class periods, for days and weeks. Sometimes if you're involved in a robotics competition, that could be even months. But it's that type of exposure, trying to foster that type of knowledge and skills and aptitude. That's what we need our students to be able to do to, once again, prepare them to work for a 21st century knowledge-based economy. What I found, the reason why I fell in love with teaching education robotics is because robotics was the best organizer to be able to do all that for me. It allowed my students to be able to look for multiple ways to solve a problem. It allowed them to work collaboratively. The great thing about robotics, oftentimes in school, when you want students to work collaboratively, it's difficult to make sure that all those students in a group are engaged. But with robotics, it becomes much, much, much easier because the robotic system itself is so robust. Whether you're doing a challenge room or a STEM lab or you're in a competition, those challenges are so robust that you have roles for everyone to do and allows those students to make authentic collaborations with their peers, which for students, oftentimes, when they're teenagers, that's all they want to be able to do. They want to be able to connect with their peers in a very collaborative fashion around something that they're all very passionate about. Robotics gives you the opportunity to do that. Once again, find multiple solutions to problems. One of the big, light bulb moments for me, one of the very first lessons I taught in robotics is I had my students with their VexIQ robot move their robot around a square. And I had 4 groups working at that, and each group had a different way in which they solved that particular challenge with their code. And I was so excited to see that because that was something I always tried to do in my math classroom. Different ways to solve word problems and things of that nature. And it was always so difficult to do, but with a very basic introductory robotics lesson, I was able to solve that. So once again, whether you're doing a competition in our STEM lab or you're doing an actual competition, a VRC or a VIQC competition, there's great things that you can do there that allow students to find multiple solutions to problem. Robotics also gives students ownership over what it is that they're doing. One of my favorite things to do when I go to a competition is to ask students about their robot because they can't wait to show you their robot because it's theirs. It's something that they created, something that they did. So allowing students to have their own voice and choice in their learning, that's something that's really, really important in education today, and that's something that robotics allows you to do. Robotics allows students to understand the world around them, just like we teach biology, but we don't expect all of our students to be a biologist, okay? Same thing with robotics. Robotics are ubiquitous. They're all around our students. So learning about robotics allows students to learn more about the world around them. And also, robotics is a great way to teach integrated STEM. What I mean by that is making sure that each aspect of STEM is being addressed fully, allowing students to develop deep reservoirs of knowledge in each part of STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math, and then having them organize that information, create connections, and then apply it to an open-ended problem. Once again, robotics, we feel, is the best organizer for that in order to be able to do all of that. So once again, whether it's to be able to foster skills that are critical for a 21st century knowledge-based economy, whether it's allowing students to form authentic collaborations with their peers, to do things like investigate in multiple ways to solve problems, teaching integrated STEM, being able to expose students to a open-ended problem-solving process and to iterate for multiple days, weeks, even months. And finally, to help students understand the world around them, we feel that robotics is great for that, which will then lead to being able to solve many of the challenges that we have as educators today. Now, with all that being said, you could say to me, you know what, Jason, great, fantastic. You've convinced me. Anyone can teach educational robotics. I know I have someone there in my area that can help me. That all sounds fantastic, but can I really do it? Can I really teach robotics? Can I really effectively teach robotics even though I don't have a degree in STEM, I don't have a degree in engineering, I'm not that mechanically inclined? Can I do all of this? And my answer is an emphatic yes. Not only am I going to tell you that, but I'm now going to show you that with our brand new product, Vexco. Vexco is a brand new product that we released here in the United States back in October. We're very, very proud of it. The fact that you can get started building and coding a robot in minutes, no matter what your background level is. And that's what I'm going to show off to you here right now. So I'm going to go to my overhead view here. This is a Vexco field that you get if you purchase a classroom bundle. This is the Vexco storage solution that you see here. So the one thing that should jump out to you is how well organized all of this is. The fact that all of the pieces come pre-sorted. All the pieces are color-coded also, so I know exactly where to put things. If you order a kit with storage, it comes to you like this, so you don't have to take all the pieces out of plastic and put things away. Instead, all of this storage is done here for you in a very easy to use storage solution here. If you have questions about Vexco, if you have questions about the Vexco storage solution, if you want more information about what you get, for example, with a classroom bundle for Vexco, please feel free once again to reach out to Solid, like I talked to you about a moment ago. You can see the parts poster for Vexco here that goes through all the different things that you get with a Vexco kit. Once again, all of the pieces are color-coded, so if you're trying to identify a piece for your student, you can just say, just please get me the red beam, which is the smallest one, the different size plates, all those different things are on here for you. We spent a lot of time with teachers making sure that this was as easy as possible for you in order from an organization standpoint. Not only is it easy from an organizational standpoint, it's also very easy from a building standpoint, which is I'm going to show off for you right now. So I'm going to go to the build instructions right here. This is located at builds.vex.com. I'm going to open up the Vexco build instructions. You can see all the different builds we have here for Vexco. They're in our Vexco STEM labs. And I'm going to open up the code base build instructions right here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you so you can see it. There you go. A little bit bigger. Okay. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to build this robot for you right now. Okay. And you're going to see I'm going to be able to build and connect and code this robot in less than 10 minutes. I'm just going to get out some of the pieces that I need here. So, obviously the battery, I need the motor, I need the actual robot brain itself. I love these little jewel cases that are located. I'll just hold this up so you can see this a little bit better. These little jewel cases that are located inside the Vexco kit. So all the small little pieces, connector pegs, are all located right here for you. They're not all over your classroom, all over your floor. They're all self-contained right there. I also have the one for the different axles that I'm going to need there. Okay, let me just get the wheels out of here. Okay, I'm going to need a few of these. And I'm just going to use my field here. I'm going to put this off to the side, right next to my V5 robot. I'm just going to go ahead and start building here with all of this. Okay, so I know I need a couple large plates. Okay, all right. Now, the one thing I do want to call out, I mentioned earlier on, I talked about the fact that even if you're not, mechanically inclined, and that is certainly the case for me. I am not someone that tinkers. I am not a hobbyist. Believe me when I tell you. The running joke that we have is that if there is something that is busted in my house, you should be better off calling either my wife or my daughter, not me. They're going to have a much better chance of being able to fix it than I can. And that's the honest to goodness truth. And I say that to you, not to be self-deprecating, but instead just to highlight the fact that once again, no matter what your experience level is, you can be very, very successful with teaching educational robotics, as I'm going to show you with this Vexco kit right here. I know a lot of people can be intimidated the first time they're thinking, oh, how can I teach robots? I was. When I was first asked about teaching robotics, I was scared to death. I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to teach a robot. I didn't really know what educational robotics was. Obviously, I'm a lot more familiar with it now, but at that time, I wasn't familiar with it at all. So the idea of teaching it, I was very worried. And I know a lot of teachers have that same apprehension that I did when I first started teaching. So what I'm going to show you here during the course of the presentation is all the things that we've developed, both from a product perspective, as I'm showing you with Vex Go right now, and also Vex Code VR, which I'm going to show you here in a moment, but also all the different support material that we built into all of our different products here. Now, a real important point that I want to kind of mention to you as I'm building this Vex Go robot is this idea of spatial reasoning. And this is one of the real benefits and one of the reasons why we developed this Vex Go kit for younger students. Spatial reasoning is very, very, very important for young students for both their math and their STEM skills. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of research right now that shows that being able to foster spatial reasoning in young students, that are around 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old, that has an effect on their aptitude in math that goes all the way through high school. So imagine that, being able to do these types of activities when students are very young, research has shown and proven can have an impact with students all the way through high school. So when I talk about spatial reasoning, what am I actually talking about? Well, just from a scientific perspective, spatial reasoning, it's an umbrella term that refers to different cognitive processes about being able to understand characteristics of both 2- and 3-dimensional objects, what happens when you change and rotate objects, being able to understand and talk about and visualize different aspects of an object. All those different things are related to spatial reasoning. Not only do they have an impact in math that I mentioned a moment ago, but there's a lot of research that's coming out now that's showing that you can also have an impact on computer science. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because one of the big challenges that you have in teaching computer science is understanding what happens with your code when it actually gets delivered to a computer, or in our case, to a robot, understanding what happens with that code. And if you think about with the robot, being able to plot out what a robot would do when you code individual commands to it, that's just like understanding how an object would change if you would flip, rotate it, do a transformation of it, all those particular things with it. All of that is a part of spatial reasoning, which once again, we know from research now is a huge impact on our STEM proficiency and a very large impact on our being able to prepare our students for STEM. And as I mentioned before, as a result of that, being able to prepare them for a 21st century knowledge-based economy. If you have questions about that, and if you want some of the research that I'm citing about that right now, please feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Sala. I'll be happy to share those research papers with him, both around using spatial reasoning to teach computer science and also the impact of spatial reasoning in STEM. One of the things I find fascinating about it was, for the longest time, researchers thought that spatial reasoning was fixed. So you were either born with it and you had it, or you didn't. Now we know, we learned about in 2015, that's actually not the case, that instead you can actually help grow students' proficiency in spatial reasoning. And when you do that, it's a great predictor to STEM success down the line. So being able to build like this and construct like this, whether I'm following the directions here, or obviously if I'm doing something open-ended, whether it's here with Vexco or even like in a Vex competition with IQ or V5, obviously it's a great way to foster spatial reasoning. And we actually include this stuff in our STEM labs also. Having students engage in spatial talk with one another and also with you, the teacher. These are all things that we do in our STEM labs to try to foster this as much as possible. So as you can see, I've been working for about 6 minutes, working and talking with you, and I almost have my robot built. I'm getting ready to put the actual brain, or sorry, the battery on the robot right now. I'm going to go through and do that here. Okay, got that on there. And now I just need to attach the actual robot brain. So I need some more red connector pin. Once again, I just can't emphasize to you how nice this jewel case is. I was a teacher. I used to have to, I can only, my class was 42 minutes, I knew I only had about a half hour of instructional time because the rest of the time dealt with cleanup. It is so wonderful not to have to do that here. Just can't tell you how amazing that is, because things like those little connector pegs are located inside of that jewel case and not in a large bin or something like that. Just so nice to be able to do that. So let me get that lined up. The other thing that's really nice about this, I'll hold this up so you can see it, is you'll notice here, this is for my battery, and the one where the connector goes is the same color. It's that same orange color. So exactly where to plug in. There's no guesswork for the students at all. I'll go ahead and I'll plug my motors in now. 1 and 4. Plug goes in right there. Turn my brain on, and that's it. I'm done. Congratulations. I just built a robot. You just watched me build a robot. And I did that in about, my mental math here is right as I'm looking at the clock, I did that in about 7 minutes. So not bad, okay? Now, why is that important? Obviously, it's important because it shows that it's easy. The other reason why it's important, though, is because we know from educational research that immediate feedback is very important. That's what helps to drive engagement. So having that immediate feedback, be able to do something, is really important, both from you as a teacher, but also as a student, to make you think that you can do this. So I built the robot, so now I'm going to code my robot. So I'm going to go here. Okay, actually, let me bring up the larger view of my computer here, and I'm going to go to codego.vex.com, okay, which is our browser version of the Vex Code software for Vexco. And I'm going to go up here in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to click on the brain. I'm going to click Connect. Okay. It found my robot. This robot's called Webinar. This is the robot that we use for different webinars and presentations. I'm going to click Pair. And you'll be able to see here, my robot starts blinking. Okay. That means it's now connected. Okay. It's now connected. I can click here. This is now turned green, which shows me I connected. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that block. I'm going to make the block a little bit bigger so you can see it. This is our block-based programming language that we have for Vex Code Go. I'm going to go ahead and just make my robot drive forward very simply here. I'll make it go a little bit further forward. There we go. So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click Start. Okay, you can see my robot now moves forward. Okay. So very easily, you saw there, I was able to make my robot, build my robot, and then code my robot to move all in under 10 minutes. So to go back to what I mentioned before, can anyone teach educational robotics? I talked about it, but this is really showing it off for you right here. So I'll just kind of just show this to you real quick. Just going to make my robot. You can see the highlight, the program executioner that we've built to really make the learning visible for the students. And now the robot is moving. As you can see here, it's going to move in a square in my Vexco field. Really nice way to be able to do this. Now, from a classroom application, imagine having your students build a robot in under 10 minutes or less. I did this by myself. if students are working in groups, they do this even faster. After they've built the robot, you as the teacher can then go teach the lesson. And then at the end, you can go ahead and take this robot apart, put it back. You know exactly where to put everything because it's all itemized for you here in the kit. You know where to put everything, makes cleanup very, very, very easy and quick. Now, your next classroom, they can come in and they can pick up where you left off at. So if you teach multiple classrooms and you want to give your students that hands-on building experience for all the reasons, all the importance of spatial reasoning I talked about earlier, you could do that, and you could do that very, very easily with Vexco, as I just showed it to you here. You don't have to purchase a robotics kit for all your different classrooms, okay? This is, once again, I'm going to go back to my slides and show you the continuum so you can see where this is in the continuum again, okay? You can see talking about Vexco, students ages 8 through 10, but we have the continuum for everything. Vex 1, 2, 3, this is for students that are even younger. I have 1, 2, 3 robots right here for you. You can see I could touch these robots and make them move. There's a Vex coder that I can connect, just like I connect with Vexco to make these move forward. If you have questions about that, please feel free to see Saul. And obviously for my older students, now we progress from being able to snap pieces together to do something like this with metal fasteners and things, big robust builds, more powerful motors, amazing sensors. I can do it with V5, okay? So the continuum that I showed you in the slide, it really shows how you can do this at any particular age level. Once again, though, I know that a lot of you are teaching via distance learning right now. I know a lot of you are asking yourself, this sounds great, but I can't, it's really difficult for me to give my students a hands-on experience like this because, you know, they're at home, I'm teaching remotely. How can we do that? That leads me into Vex Code VR, okay? Vex Code VR was a solution that we developed back in April of this year because so many schools were shutting down. Teachers, once again, were going from teaching in their living rooms, from their classrooms to their living rooms. So we wanted to be able to give teachers a way to be able to stay connected with computer science, STEM, and Vex, and that's when we developed Vex Code VR. If you have not seen it yet, please go to vr.vex.com. You can launch Vex Code VR. It's web-based. No download or installs are needed. No students' logins are needed. You can go once again to vr.vex.com and start downloading and begin playing with it right now. And I'm going to show you that here, right now, here also. Okay? So when I launch Vex Code VR, the first thing that launches with me is this tutorial video that you can see here. Okay? So this helps when students are just getting started. This tutorial video walks you through everything that you need in order to help get started learning.
To do many
As you can see here, so it's a great way for students to get started. But that same block-based programming that you saw in Vexco, it exists also here in Vex Code VR. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a very similar program that I made with Vexco. Take a control block, go to here, repeat that 4 times. And now up here, instead of connecting to my robot, now I'm gonna launch my playground. Okay? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna expand my playground so you can see it here. There you see my VR robot. I'll show you a different camera angle so you can see the robot there. Okay? This is our VR robot. Has a pen on it so you can do drawing. Has 2 different eye sensors on it so you can detect walls and do things of that nature. I'll go ahead and hit play. And now my robot will run, okay? So I can get my VR robot, as you can see here, to be able to run in seconds. Really nice way to be able to do it. We have multiple playgrounds located in Vex Code VR. So if I wanted to be able to make my robot solve a maze, code my robot to be able to solve a maze, you see I have a maze here that I can go through. And I can go ahead and I can make sure I can use logic and I can use all my different sensors and things of that nature to make sure I can actually get through and solve my maze. We have other playgrounds, like I was saying, like Dynamic Castle Crasher. So now the idea with this particular playground is to go through and knock down all the castles. So let me just show you what this looks like right here. I'm going to add a drive forward command, and I'll make that 600 millimeters. Okay. Go to my behind view. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click start. You're going to see me knock over. Oh, didn't quite make it. Okay. Very easy to update Vex Code VR though. I'm going to give you a live example of right here. I can go to 800. I can hit reset, set my camera angle. I'm so happy that happened. You notice when I hit reset, it changed the castle because this is the dynamic castle crasher. But I'm so happy that I showed that because one of the benefits of Vex Code VR, it shows you how quick and easy I can create a program, run it. Oh, I didn't get the result that I wanted. Now I can change it. Now I can go and I can do it again. Vex Code VR has been so successful. We've had over 600,000 sessions, coding sessions run in Vex Code VR. We've reached students in over 160 countries. On average, students spend 1.5 hours of coding per session on Vex Code VR. So they're just not going in here, hitting a couple buttons and be able to kind of go from there. Instead, they're really spending a lot of time going in and coding and having that great experience with it. Couple other things I want to show you with Vex Code VR is if you want to be able to actually learn more about Vex Code VR and do some of the activities that we have associated with it. We have all these activities right here for you, and I can get there right from the software as I just showed you. I can also click the Learn button. This is going to take you to our actual curriculum, okay? Our CS Fundamentals course. This is a webinar that I did a few months ago that talks about it, okay? But you can click right here and this will take you directly to, once again, our CS Fundamentals course. So we have all these materials here located here for you that you can learn with Vex Code VR. In addition to learning with blocks, you can also learn Python with Vex Code VR with our little code viewer that I'm showing you right now. As I add more blocks into Vex Code VR, you can see the Python blocks are being added right there for me. This is a great way to introduce students to text-based programming. I can then convert my project to text. I'm not worried about saving it. And there is my text programming interface right there for me. Okay, I can drag commands in just like I did with blocks. I can do the same thing with text. I have help for each of my commands, just like I have help. I can click on a block, or here you can see I can click on a question mark and my help will populate over here for the individual command. We also have tutorial videos, all designed to help you get started using, once again, Vex Code VR. Beyond the Getting Started one, we have more of them there. And I can start a project either from blocks or text. So if I want to go back to blocks, I go and I can do that, and I'm back in my block-based programming paradigm. So if you want to be able to teach, once again, block-based programming, text, transitioning students from block to text, you can do that all in Vex Code VR. You want curriculum or activities to support you with Vex Code VR, all that is okay for you also. You want training and teaching about computer science and teaching with Vex Code VR. Good news for you is we have a free online professional development course that's located at certifications.vex.com. You have questions about that, please let me know or let Sala know. We'll point you in the right direction. Free online self-paced professional development to be able to use Vex Code VR in your classroom. So this gets back to the passion I talked to you about before, the quote I showed you from our co-founder, Bob Mimlich. It's you, the teachers, that really allow us to achieve our mission statement at Vex. So that's why we want to create all this for you, not just to have a product, but to have a total solution. So we don't just create Vex Code VR. Instead, we also create for you activities. We create curriculum. We create free online professional development for you. Our knowledge base, which is located at help.vex.com, gives you everything that you need to get started, and I'll show it to you here in a moment. All that is there for you. The other thing that I want to show you that we're really, really proud of, that we're kind of debuting at the conference here today, go back to my computer, click on the globe icon. You can see here we have the preview mode of Arabic also. So all the blocks are translated, all the UI is translated. This will work also when it comes time for me to go ahead and code my VR robot. Just like I was doing previously, you can see I can do all of that here in Arabic also. Okay, so we're really, really, really proud of that. The fact that we're able to support so many different languages, the fact that we're able to support you with what we're doing with Arabic, not just with Vex Code VR, but you see our Vexco parts poster up here that I mentioned to you a moment ago. We want to do everything that we can to support you as you're doing distance learning right now. Please go to vr.vex.com. You can see everything that we're doing with that. You can choose Arabic. All of that is located right there for you. If you have any questions about anything that I mentioned, how do I get to the professional development? Where do I learn more about competitions? Where do I learn more about the curriculum that you have? Please go to getstarted.vex.com, and I'll show that to you right now. Go back to my computer. Getstarted.vex.com. If you want to learn more about Vex 1, 2, 3, Vexco, VexIQ, I'm just going to go to VexIQ. I can click on Get Started here. I want to learn more about getting started with VexIQ, learn how to code with it, how to get the Vex Code programming language, resources for educators, that free online professional development program, the STEM Labs, the curriculum, and if I want to learn more about competitions, all of that is located right here for you in order to be able to get started with you. So we're very, very proud to be able to offer all of this for you. We want to make sure that as educators, you understand that educational robotics is really the solution. It's the answer to everything that you're trying to do in order to meet the needs of students today. So just to kind of summarize everything, my name is Jason McKenna, Director of Global Educational Strategy for Vex Robotics. Thank you so much for participating today. Please contact me. More importantly, contact Sala if you have any questions about anything for Vex Robotics. We feel very strongly that education robotics is the way to solve everything that you're trying to do as educators today, and anyone can do it, as I showed you here with our Vexco robot. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and I can't wait to hear about all the wonderful things that you're going to do with education robotics. Thank you.